What's up, guys, in the works, and we are using the M16 today. And before you cringe at the screen and say, Jake, we don't want to see the M16, everybody uses this weapon. Don't worry, never fear. This is the A4. It is the brother of the A3, the 3-round burst variant. It's kind of that brother that you never really see. He's not necessarily estranged from the family, or he's not really a bad guy. He's just never around. You know, he lives out of state, and you only really see him, you know, during funerals and weddings. So he's not a bad guy though, guys. He can get the job done, and the M16A4, even though it does have some close quarters limitations, I found some ways around that, and that's why I am using the M26 slugs. And the slugs really help you in close quarters because, you know, inherently a burst weapon is going to kind of be at a disadvantage in close quarters and not really designed for close quarter scenarios, and that's where the slugs come in. It'll bail you out of situations where you get bum rushed by a bunch of medics up a staircase like that. And normally it'd be a little bit more tricky to sit there and try to hip fire those guys because the M16 doesn't have great hip fire. I mean, it's nothing over the top, and I'm using the flash suppressor, which is going to nerf your hip fire even more because the flash suppressor adds weight to your weapon, and DICE has kind of balanced it and made it so that hip fire is a little bit poorer when using the flash suppressor. But my logic behind the flash suppressor is kind of twofold. You know, the M16A3 is a pretty versatile weapon, but because you are going burst fire on the A4, you're kind of limited in certain scenarios. So I like to make it so that it's really good at medium range and really good at long range, and I try to avoid putting myself into situations where I know I'm going to be in close quarters. Now right here I can get behind some cover and kind of just pick people off with the burst, and it's a very accurate rifle, and the flash suppressor helps you stay on target. Since I'm not really worrying about hip fire and I've got my M26, I'm not worrying about the hip fire penalty. The flash suppressor helps me stay on target. It makes the recoil much more manageable, because if you're going to compare these two weapons, really the only difference beyond the fact that one's a burst weapon and one is a fully auto / semi-fire rifle is that it has a different recoil pattern. The recoil patterns are slightly different. It makes it a little bit trickier to stay on target with the M16A4 than it is with the M16A3. Now granted, when you go fully auto, that does change recoil patterns. The 3-round burst is kind of just up and to the right, up and to the right, up and to the right, and the flash suppressor kind of helps you manage that a little bit more because it makes the recoil very flat. At medium to long range, you're going to get a lot of 2, 3, 4 burst kills. I mean, at long ranges, you are going to be looking at 4 burst kills in a lot of scenarios, just because it's hard to get all your bullets on target. Now, if you're extremely accurate and you're hitting the head, yeah, you're going to get 2 bursts at long range. But for the most part, you know, I'm looking at a 3 burst average kill with this thing at beyond medium range. And it is a very accurate rifle though. I mean, it's no AN-94, it's no SCAR L, but in terms of being a useful medium range rifle, it does get the job done. And like I said, a lot of people are hesitant to use this weapon just because it is a burst fire. They're like, well, why would I want to use this when I can just burst fire my M16A3? And it's a good question. I mean, it is a good argument because, I mean, DICE essentially made this weapon exactly the same before they patched it. It was the exact same weapon. One was just a burst fire, and in my opinion, it was a lot better before they patched it. You know, it had the same recoil pattern. This thing was a laser beam, and I was surprised more people didn't use this because burst makes it a lot easier, in my eyes, to take out multiple targets. It's a lot easier to get in there and just boom, 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 and you just lock on to people, take them down, especially if you run up behind them. But they patched it, they made it harder to control the recoil, and they kind of gave this its own little character as opposed to the A3, which was, you know, it behaves a lot different than the A3, at least in my eyes. So give this a whirl. Like I said, the M26 kind of counterbalances that close quarters nerf that you kind of have. You know, you have the flash suppressor on there to help you kind of contain that recoil. It makes the hip fire much worse, so to kind of counter that, you know, the M26 will bail you out of a lot of close quarter situations. And the M26 slugs, don't underestimate this, guys. It's basically a underslung SPAS 12 because it has the same bullet velocity, it does the same damage. This thing is beastly. You'll get a lot of one-shots up close. You do have the potential to get a one-shot headshot from super long range. I mean, granted, the drop-off is pretty sharp on this, but for the most part, it's a very effective close quarters weapon. And you saw that a couple clips here where I've gotten multiple people with the slugs in one shot, and you know, I got that sniper hiding behind the rail over here in 2 shots. So it can bail you out of situations. It's a very nice complement to a weapon that's more focused on medium range engagements. Now, do I think this is going to beat a SCAR L at super long range? Probably not. Do I think it's going to beat the AN-94 at long range? Probably not. Yeah, in fact, I think the KH-2002 is even going to give this thing a run for its money. As far as being a weapon that people kind of overlook, I definitely think that it's something that people need to reconsider. I think that it's a weapon worth using. In fact, the majority of my M16 kills, if you go to my battle log and stalk me a little bit, I know a lot of you guys like to do that, you'll notice that I have a lot of M16 kills, and inherently you'd be like, oh, well, that just means he uses the A3, but for some reason DICE lumps A3 and A4 kills together, but the majority of my M16 kills have come from using this weapon, so I am well versed in the way it behaves. It's pretty decent. I mean, I know a lot of you M16 guys will say, well, there's really no point in using this, and I can see your argument. It's definitely a solid argument. If you can control your burst on the M16A3, there's really no reason to use this, but look at that shot right there. Do you really think you could have got that with the A3 versus the A4? I think the A4 is definitely going to be superior at those medium and long ranges just because you can be so much more accurate, and accuracy is so important in Battlefield 3 when you're using the assault kit. I mean, especially at longer ranges, because if you're missing your shot, it's going to take so many magazines to kill people, and wasting ammo when, you know, ammo's not infinite, considering that majority of the support players never throw it down, so you got to be a little bit smarter when using these low ammo capacity weapons. But I think the M16A4 is a decent weapon. I definitely think more people should try it out. It is a more of a marksman type weapon, and I'd like to see more people use it. It'd be a nice compliment if you want to use the M16. It's a less intimidating or less over-the-top type of choice if you want to use the M16. But hopefully you guys enjoy this. I will see you guys next time. I'm going to link you guys to a couple of videos you might want to check out if you missed last time. There's a Medal of Honor video where I talked a little bit about how excited I am for Medal of Honor, and before that I talked about some of the new maps coming to Armored Kill in about a month, a little under a month now since it is the 15th. So check those videos out, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.